Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2024, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 76 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015-2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art Sciences and Well.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, we are commemorating Amnesty International Day, which is marked. Just a second. Yeah. So, good evening, all. So, today we are commemorating Amnesty International Day, which is marked on May 28th every year. Amnesty International is continuously working hard to improve the globe. They seek to advocate for human rights and spread understanding of their violations and how our daily choices affect them. This day encourages people of all nationality, cultures, and races to participate in a variety of global human rights events. Worldwide Human Rights Organization, Amnesty International, is an active in topics such as war crimes and torture. This organization studies and campaigns to release individuals wrongly imprisoned, prosecute criminals, and fight all forms of abuse. Amnesty International was founded in the British capital of London in 1961 July, when Peter Benson, a British labor lawyer, learned about two Portuguese students who had been sentenced to 7 years after drinking a glass of liberty. He was inspired to start this group with Eric Baker of the Religious Society of Friends and many other members of intelligentsia, including academics, writers, and lawyers. They wrote an article titled The Forgotten Prisoners. This was published in The Observer in May 1961 and garnered widespread attention. So this resulted in an appeal. This resulted in an appeal which swiftly blossomed into an agreement organization dedicated to changing the world and ensuring that everyone has access to the basic set of human rights for all people everywhere. Since then, the diligent efforts of this group have played a crucial role in exposing breaches of human rights and striving to influence government policy. Concerning the preservation of those rights, members of this group were accused of anything from spying 1980s Russia to acting as a defender of the criminal underworld. And their activity was not always well received. In reality, there are advocates of the oppressed and the downtrodden, and they work tirelessly every day to ease the suffering of the people all over the world who are suffering from famine, conflict, and asylum seeking situations. By influencing governments and other powerful groups and publishing their transgressions, Amnesty International is a non governmental organization dedicated to the defense of human rights worldwide. Amnesty International is founded in London by lawyer Peter Benenson in 1961. The first Amnesty International Day is celebrated in 1962. The first campaign against torture is launched by Amnesty International to abolish torture in 1972. Against the death penalty, the first Amnesty International death penalty campaign is launched in 1980. So, human rights organization Amnesty International launches a big international campaign on women's rights under the slogan "Women's rights are women's rights" in 1990. The human rights organization Amnesty International is a worldwide movement with members in more than 150 countries and regions who struggle to put an end to human rights abuses. Amnesty International is not a charity. Although they have a charity arm, grant cash is used to support the charity organization charity operations. The organization has more than 7 million members and supporters around the world. The state mission of the organization is to campaign for a world in which every person enjoys all the human rights enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and other international human rights instruments. The organization has worked on various cases which can be read on the website about their past cases and current cases and sign the petition if you wish, if any active. According to the Chinese saying, the logo, it is better to curse the darkness than to curse the light. The inspiration for the organization emblem was obtained. The fact that Amnesty International performs comedy shows may seem incongruous for a group with such a serious mission and such a heavy schedule, but they are hosted as fundraisers. The list includes both fictional and documentary films that emphasize human rights and discrimination according to Amnesty and approves movies. Since its inception, Amnesty International has published a report annually. Before taking on a case or issuing a country report, the Amnesty International procedure has been to hire a research team to check the facts of the case. Amnesty International's importance cannot be overstated. Amnesty International works tirelessly to safeguard children, women, and men all across the world in situations where their right to truth, dignity, and justice have been violated or denied them. The group examines and publicizes incidents in which resources, people, and power have been exploited by those in positions of authority. Several of the cases on which they have worked are available for review. The organization is critical in the creation of safer world and the transformation of societies that require assistance. They often got involved in human rights violations and ensure that world is safer for everyone. Today is also founding of the Democratic Republic of Azerbaijan. In Azerbaijan, the founding of the Democratic Republic of Azerbaijan, formerly referred to as Republic Day, often referred to as Independence Day, which is observed on May 28th and is a national holiday in the country of Azerbaijan. This day celebrates the founding of the first Turkic and Islamic country to allow women to vote and establish equal political rights for both genders. The founding occurred in May of 1918 when Azerbaijan first declared independence from the Russian Empire. Azerbaijan was a country under the control of Russian Empire, which was overthrown during the Russian Revolution of 1917. In May of 1918, scholar and public figure Manmat Amrin Razulday founded the Democratic Republic of Azerbaijan, declaring its independence for the first time. By the end of the year, in November, the Republic event has its own flag. During the few years that followed, Azerbaijani women received the right to vote, and country became the first Islamic and Turkic territory to provide women and men equal political rights. However, once the Soviet Union ascended to power in the east of Europe, Azerbaijan was again invaded and the power of government was taken over. It was only after the collapse of Soviet Union in 1991 that Azerbaijan was able to reclaim its independence, becoming the new Republic of Azerbaijan in August. Although there are many self-proclaimed independent regions within and surrounding the territory of the country, they are still considered part of Azerbaijan by the international community. Azerbaijan is a geographical region that encompasses various backgrounds. Those we call Azerbaijans today were once called Caucasian Turks, Transcaucasian Muslims, and Tatars. The country has a population of around 10 million people. It was accepted into the Council of the United Nations in 1992 and adopted a constitution in 1995. Day is also commemorated as International Burger Day, which is a fast food, of course, but today burgers are one of the most popular fast foods in the world. They are fast, inexpensive, and tasty, formerly considered inferior to prime slices. Now considered a cheap byproduct, but is now popularly used for hamburgers. Burgers have grown to international fame with toppings, condiments, and variations, whether pan fried or flame broiled or barbecued. One thing is certain burgers are going to serve in a bun, and International Hamburger Day is also a celebration of that. It may surprise you to learn that the hamburger is an emblem of American fast food, yet its roots are obscure. Throughout history, from military barracks of Genghis Khan to German steamships docking in New York Harbor, the humble hamburger has had a rather interesting existence. Today is also commemorated as International Day of Action on Women's Health, also known as International Women's Health Day, is marked on May 28 by women and health organizations globally to educate people about women's health and rights. The day fights against the social and gender disparities that violate women's rights. It is also alarming that these disparities manifest in various ways and operate at multiple levels. These include women's rights to their bodies and to health, as well as to equality and non discrimination. This day provides women with more information about sexual and reproductive rights and control over their reproductive health. Members of the Women's Global Network for Reproductive Rights, WGNRR, in South Africa met in 1987 and then established International Day of Action for Women's Health. The South African government formally recognized it in 1999. Finally, the establishment of International Women's Day revealed an opportunity to raise awareness of the significance of women's rights to sexual and reproductive health. Sexual and reproductive health and rights education for women, regardless of considerations such as religion and age, is critical. International Day of Action for Women's Health highlights the most blatant forms of contempt for autonomy, coercion, discrimination, and violence that many and girls face in our cultures today. These alone should be enough to motivate everyone to take concrete action. Yet there is lack of effort to put safeguards in place to avoid perpetuating unhealthy systems. In addition to the people in their immediate environment, the political and economic systems that build our society plays a significant role in establishing safe places for women and girls. Consequently, it follows that social transformation requires political action to promote equality and mutual respect in interpersonal interactions and eradicating violence. Women's health can be better ensured by empowering women collectively and as individuals. A key point is addressing the structural factors contributing to their social exclusion and limitations to their ability to make independent decisions for themselves. The founding of Planned Parenthood begins in operations in Brownsville, New York, United States, to educate the public about contraception. Margaret Sanger launches Birth Control Review magazine in 1970. Birth control pills are introduced to women in 1960s. The first modern female condom is introduced in 1993. So it is critical to have access to reliable, unbiased, and up-to-date sexual and reproductive health information. In addition, services such as vaccination, cervical screening tests, and testing for sexually transmissible infections are also necessary. Access to sexual and reproductive health care and quality knowledge about healthy living can all assist women in attaining optimal health and well. Even though breastfeeding may delay menstruation, it is still possible to become pregnant Ovulation will occur before the menstrual cycle begins again, so follow your doctor's advice on the best birth control option. Highlight the subject of women's rights to healthcare, making women aware of medical facilities, contraception, and other support protecting women from HIV/AIDS and securing access to safe and legal abortion facilities. All these issues impact women's health, hence must be raised and addressed to educate people. People, including the woman's sexual partner, family members, a physician or midwife, and peers, all play a role in influencing her reproductive health decisions to varying degrees. You may support and campaign for women's freedom to make their own decisions about their reproductive health. Every year, countless women die from unsafe and unhygienic abortions. Preventable, if abortion is legal, use your voice and call for safe and legal abortions in your state or country. It encompasses the right to positive and healthy relationships and health services that are accessible, safe, and equitable, access to reliable information, effective and inexpensive means of contraception, and timely support and assistance in connection to unwanted pregnancy. Different life stages correlate to various aspects of female sexual and reproductive health. These include the menstrual cycle, the ability to become pregnant, sexually transmitted infections, and chronic health issues such as polycystic ovary syndrome and the mental menopause and transition. A healthy sexual and reproductive system is essential for women's holistic health and well-being. The decision-making power is essential for women, including whether or not to have children. It includes pregnancy. Safe sex practices are critical for women's sexual and reproductive health of sexually active women on all ages. Each year, women and health organizations can focus on topics affecting women that are left uncovered. Such examples include access to quality health care, HIV/AIDS and how it affects women, access to contraceptives, access to safe and legal abortion, how governments can do more to ensure that women are safe, and so on. Some of these topics are usually considered taboo, but we can have open and honest conversations on this day. The day allows every organization or individual to mobilize their communities behind a priority issue suited to the local circumstances. Solutions must be adapted to the locality and the issues on hand and not treated as one size fits all approach. Knowledge of sexual and reproductive health tips in preventing unwanted and high risk pregnancies. Such knowledge, as well as prenatal and postnatal care, saves women's lives daily. Health care for the sex and reproductive organs include preventing and treating sexually transmitted illness like HIV and AIDS. Today is also commemorated as Abolition Day. On May 28th, the Caribbean island of St. Martin celebrates the anniversary of the day they abolished slavery on Abolition Day, which takes place on May 28th, which is an important day for all French colonies that adopted this law. Abolition Day is St. Martin is also observed with loads of fanfare and commemorative events. Business, schools, and other places are closed for this national holiday, and in past years have also had week-long celebrations around this time. Like many other Caribbean islands, there were once French colonies. Saint Martin too has a storied history of enslavement and enforced labor. The land was already inhabited by indigenous people when Christopher Columbus sighted Saint Martin, then called Sola Liga or Saua Liga or Island of Salt. He claimed it as Spanish territory immediately after although the Spanish chose to settle in richer, much more profitable colonies. They were also the first to import slaves to the island, but the numbers remained small as the Spanish focused their attention on other islands. Today is also commemorated as National Day of Ethiopia, which is observed annually on May 28. It is also known as the downfall of the Derg. The Derg, a dictatorial military regime led by the Mengistu Haile Mariam, was brought to an end in 1990. The largest celebrations take place in the city of Addis Ababa, where there are usually many crowds during the holidays. Business and traffic disruptions are frequent during this time. The holiday celebrates the country's liberation and serves as a reminder for people to appreciate the privilege living in freedom. Today is also commemorated as National Flag Day in Philippines. National Flag Day in Philippines is celebrated every year on May 28. It is observed as a national holiday in Philippines in celebration of their independence from the Spanish. It was on this day, 1898, that the flag was hoisted for the first time and the nation came together to form the country's first republic. The flag remains a symbol of patriotism and nationalism, and in Philippines, it was beacon of hope during the tyrannous times of the colonial era. Today is also commemorated as National Hamburger Day in US to celebrate America's most iconic food. Americans eat over 50 million burgers a year, so it's only fitting they set aside a whole day for these special sandwiches originating in Hamburg, Germany. The hamburger, also we know it was developed in Seymour, Wisconsin, a town still famous for its hamburger heroines. The beloved hamburger gets its own day on National Hamburger Day on May 28th. Hamburger, a baked bun, patty, mustard, ketchup, onion, pickles with optional cheese, convenient, cheap, and delicious. The world famous burger has a storied and uncertain history. They have both veg and non-veg versions, and no one is quite sure about the origins of the hamburger other than it is eponymously named for the town of Hamburg in Germany. People have been eating bread for centuries, but the association with hamburgers seems to stem from a 1758 recipe for a dish called Hamburg sausage. Others think the name originates from the cruise company known as the Hamburg America Line, which served its passengers similar sandwiches in the mid-1800s. To this day, there is little agreement over who actually created this iconic food. Today is also commemorated as Slugs Return from Capistrano Day in US, which is commemorated on May 28th every year in the US. It brings awareness about slugs and the roles they play in our ecosystem. It is believed that slugs spent in winter in Capistrano, they are said to return to our patios and gardens during the holiday period. Most slug species are harmless to human beings. They can be pests in agriculture and horticulture. As they tend to destroy the foliage of growing plants, they also feed on fruits and vegetables before they can be harvested, thereby destroying the crops. Slugs can be described as shellless snails. There are different types of slugs. Some slugs live on land and slugs live at sea. Their diet consists of different creatures and other matter. Slugs have been known to eat algae, worms, centipedes, insects, and fungi. They usually eat a few times their weight every day. Some slugs can be quite big. A type of slug known as a black sea hare can reach up to 40 inches and weigh up to 30 pounds. Another type of slug called the ashy gray slug of Europe can get up to 10 inches. Slugs have tentacles that they can retract. They use two to see and smell. They use others to touch and taste. They breathe through a pore called Pneumocotome slugs create mucus that protects them from bacteria and fungi. The muzzle helps them to control moisture levels. The mucus also helps make it easier for them to move around. Slugs examine the mucus trails of other slugs when they are looking for a mate. They use their pedal gland to produce their slime. Slugs are notorious for being slow. Banana slugs can move about 6.5 inches. In a minute, the milky slug can travel up to 40 feet in a night. Today is also commemorated as Whooping Crane Day, which takes place every year on May 28 to show appreciation for the rarest of all cranes. Adult cranes are usually almost completely white. Their non-white markings are their black wingtips and black facial markings. Whooping cranes are well known for the fact that they mate for life. The chicks are born a cinnamon brown color. The male and female whooping cranes do not have specific gender names like most animals. They are seen to have elaborate courtship rituals, which usually involve dances and unison calls. Whooping crane was very close to extinction by the year 1973, with less than 50 birds in the entire population. The International Crane Foundation, located in Baraboo, Wisconsin, helps conserve cranes and their ecosystems around the world. The organization provides information, leadership, and encouragement to help resolve the issues affecting cranes. People need to cooperate to protect and restore whooping crane populations and their ecosystems. This holiday serves as an important opportunity to spread awareness to people about the situation with whooping cranes. More people in society can understand what these wonderful creatures go through. This allows us to create measures that help to protect them. Once we understand an animal species better, we can help them survive and grow. The whooping crane is considered to be among the oldest living bird species on Earth. Many people know about them but do not take that much interest. The average American may be aware of cranes but not know how they live or the situations they face in their environments. Cranes serve as a symbol of longevity and fidelity. The crane symbol can also represent purity, vigilance, longevity, and good fortune. The meanings of crane birds can also be negative in some cultures. They can be used to represent deception, death, or even as a symbol of devil. About 11 to 15 species are currently threatened with extinction due to factors such as hunting habit loss and poisoning and conserving endangered birds that has proven to be challenged. So the Endangered Species Act is passed at a time when less than 50 whooping cranes remain in the wild. In 1973, the International Crane Foundation receives 22 whooping cranes from Patuxent, which are to produce chicks every year. In 1989, the US Fish and Wildlife Service estimates that there are about 505 whooping cranes. In 2017, whooping cranes population improves. Whooping cranes population in the wild becomes 677 in 2020 on a steady rise. So the whooping cranes belongs to Aves class. In 1941, there were only 21 birds left in the wild, but now it is estimated that there are about 800 whooping cranes in the world. Whooping cranes in the wild can have a lifespan of up to 20 to 24 years. So you can donate to a non-profit organization that is responsible for caring for birds. The International Crane Foundation would be a good option to start. You can celebrate this day by learning more about this tall bird, Vinayugi. It's intriguing. The whooping crane isn't the only endangered species. Today, you could take the first step to learn about and support other endangered wildlife. So the whooping crane is considered to be the tallest bird in North America, and it has a unique egg-laying system. The whooping cranes usually lay their eggs in clutches with 2 eggs per clutch. The chicks usually grow up at 1 inch per day during their first summer. They have a very speedy growth. Whooping cranes have a wide wingspan of about 7 to 8 feet. They usually weigh an average of 15 pounds. Allows them to fly for long distances. They have broad wings. The average adult whooping crane flies at a speed of about 37 to 50 mph. Some fast cranes can even reach speeds up to 62 miles per hour. Who knows how the extinction of whooping cranes is going to affect the ecosystems? Let's do everything in our power to prevent it. We get to know more about such an amazing bird. Astonishment and appreciation towards wildlife make us more loyal to the cause of protecting it. Awareness begets useful contributions and support. Being able to do something towards the conservation of the whooping crane birds is very fulfilling. Today is also commemorated as World Hunger Day on May 28 to raise awareness about more than 820 million people living in chronic hunger and to encourage action to bring this to an end. Can you imagine that a significant portion of the human population has suffered from hunger since the world has begun? Hunger is a condition in which an individual lacks physical or financial capability to meet their nutritional needs. It leads to malnutrition, wasting, stunted growth, and death. According to the Hunger Project, the hunger kills more than AIDS, malaria, tuberculosis combined, and it's preliminary. It's primarily present in Africa and South America. Hunger is a condition affecting humanity since the beginning of history, but so is the collective fight against it. According to the philosopher Simone Weil, people have always worked together to ensure that the hungry are fed. In ancient Egypt, people also helped in the hungry to justify their deeds in the afterlife. Also, before the introduction of markets, Weil says human societies shared their food to avoid hunger or choose to starve together. So before the 19th century, religious organizations and philanthropic individuals usually led hunger relief efforts. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, people began calling for government involvement in hunger relief, especially the Global Action Against Hunger. One of the initiatives the US government embarked on during the period was shipping millions of tons of food to European countries during the years immediately after World War I. After World War II, the newly formed United Nations began leading the fight against hunger. Following its UN establishment, and the UN created FAO, WFP, and IFAD to promote food security and agriculture development. In the late 1970s, international organizations such as IMF and the World Bank began focusing on developing countries. So in the 20th century, the prevailing view was that hunger was a problem of demand surpassing supply. However, this view was brought to an end by the research of economist Amrit Sen, who successfully demonstrated that hunger in modern times was a distribution problem or caused by government policies in developed and developing economies. In 1998, Sen won a Nobel Prize for this research. In 2011, the Hunger Project created World Hunger Day The day is an initiative to highlight the plight of disadvantaged people around the world and take action to end world hunger. So ancient Egyptians give food to the hungry to justify their place in their afterlife. People started asking governments to lead the effort against hunger in 19th, 20th centuries. Amartya Sen, an Indian economist, proves that hunger in modern times is a problem of distribution or government policies. In 1998, the Hunger Project launches World Hunger Day as an initiative to end global hunger in 2011. According to 2021 Global Hunger Index, Somalia is the most affected by hunger and malnutrition. Other countries with high levels of are Ethiopia, Nigeria, South Sudan, and Yemen. The World Hunger Day is observed to raise awareness about the world hunger and drive action to end hunger everywhere. The principal cause of hunger in Africa is poverty, that is followed by climate and weather conflict, unstable markets, and poor agriculture investments. Food banks are charitable organizations that distribute food to those without finances to purchase enough for themselves. Volunteer at a food bank in various capacities include fundraising, social media management, organizing food drives, and awareness campaign management. Check online for a food bank close to you. If you don't have the time or resources to volunteer, start donating a weekly or monthly token to a nonprofit that works. If you don't have the time or resources to volunteer, start donating a weekly or monthly token to a nonprofit that works on hunger. They could be a food bank, a soup kitchen, or a hunger project. Research for one that fits your ideal, get their account details, and start making donations. Media is usually the go-to platform for raising awareness about anything. Use online media and social media accounts to draw attention to the plight hungry people suffer around the world. Stress how actions like sustainable eating to reduce food wastage, donating excess food items to soup kitchens or food banks, and tasking governments to do more to end hunger. 70 million babies are born undernourished each year as their mothers are also malnourished. Around 805 million people go to bed undernourished or hungry every night. 11% of the world's population is hungry. Global food production is insufficient to feed all 7 billion people on the planet. India has experienced increased economic growth in recent years, but about 14% of its population remains undernourished. About 98% of global hunger is concentrated in underdeveloped countries. The Hunger Project, the organizers of World Hunger Day, also host physical and online events and promotes to make these statistics public knowledge and garner action. World Hunger Day not only focuses on awareness but also on deriving meaningful action. It motivates and encourages organizers and individuals to contribute in one way or the other to reducing hunger in their communications It also calls for action from governments to develop better food security policies. It promotes global health. Undernourished, which results from hunger, is a leading cause of death and disability worldwide. By driving efforts to deal undernourishment, which results from hunger, is a leading cause of death and disability worldwide. By driving efforts to deal with hunger, World Hunger Day invariably contributes to the improvement of global health. Today is also commemorated as World Passion Fruit Martini Day, which is celebrated every year on May 28th. The day is all about celebrations and drinking funky cocktails with fruits in them, with emphasis on using passion fruit and filling your glass with a dirty martini. However, you can choose whether flavor to make the cocktail of your choice. What a perfect accompaniment to a day meant to be celebrated every year. Anywhere, either at home or at a poolside party, just remember the magic words. Word is funky. So with this, we shall end the commemorations for the day. We thank you everyone for joining us on these commemorations. We request you to quickly fill in the feedback form, which is being raised in the form of quotes. So see you all tomorrow at 6 o'clock with the same joining link with different commemorations. Take care. Good night.